Hello there. Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised on the Radio. I am one half of this show. I am Colt Rocato, my good friend and Pat, my good friend. Dude, it's been like a month, right? At least.
Rough, man.
I knew I was going to mess it up. I was
Got to
so
get your
close.
chops back, dude.
Dude, I had the rhythm for a second, and then it just went away. Anyways, I am one half of this show. I am Colt Rocato, my good friend Patrick Blair in Zoom land as usual. It's been a month off, sir. There's been a lot of things going on. People miss us, right? Don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I missed you, if that makes you feel any better.
That makes me feel so joyous inside. Well, let me take this opportunity on the pod to let our listeners know that we all need to congratulate you on being a proud dad.
I appreciate that.
You, like myself, have brought a young man into this world.
Yes.
Bringing more white males into the world, upsetting the woke community.
That's exactly what we need, right?
Look at us. And I'm not even allowed to say straight white males at this point because they might not be, and that would be rude to other people. So we're bringing white males into this world. Congratulations. How's it feel?
I'm still getting used to it, but the weird feeling is that it doesn't feel like he's only been here a month, but it feels like he's always been here. Right? Like there's no way that a month ago he was in my wife's stomach. There's no way.
Yeah. I often feel like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think about times when my son wasn't here and I was like, I was kind of an asshole. Maybe he should have come a lot sooner. Maybe that would have reduced myself and so many other people so much pain. But yeah, no, it's hard to imagine them not here once they're here. Yeah.
So you felt that too, like the attitude changed. Was that like an immediate thing? Did it take time for you to kind of see that you, like your attitude or your demeanor might have changed a little bit just because of him?
I see. That's the thing. Like people always, I think we talked about this before, but people would be like, it's going to change your life. Nothing's about you anymore. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you're really saying obvious things to me. Like, I know, I get it. But I don't think I've changed as a person, you know? My attitude has changed because I love him so much. I love being a dad to my child.
Right.
He's awesome. He's like my best friend now. So like that, sure, is going to change you. I think that's inevitable. But yeah, I don't know, man. So many people just were like, yeah, it's going to this and that, and you're not going to be able to do this and this and that. And I'm like, well, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you feel like you ever became like more emotional?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like kid stuff makes me kind of emotional now. What did we just watched something. Baby crying.
I heard that.
He's having issues right now. Oh, I'm sorry. So we watched Sweet Girl. It's a movie on Netflix.
Okay.
And like there's it's got a Aquaman in it. Anyway, his wife dies of cancer. He's got this daughter. He goes through the trials and tribulations of trying to move on without his wife. And he finds out that she didn't get the drugs she needed to stay alive longer, all this shit. But I just remember the entire time I'm watching, I'm like, I don't know if I feel bad for Aquaman. I think I feel worse for his daughter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And I was just saying the entire time, it's like, that dude's such a big, like, he like stands out as not a normal human being. He's like this giant guy with long hair and a long beard. And he clearly looks like not white. It's just hard to imagine him being a dad and being like a normal guy. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Anyway, check it out. It's a good movie.
I had the same thing watching. Have you seen the movie Fatherhood? That new Kevin Hart Netflix movie?
Yes.
It was actually a pretty solid movie. And it was, but for me, it was weird watching it because I watched it like 2 weeks ago. So my son was only 2 years old or 2 weeks old at that point. And I was just thinking like 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't feel like actually internally what is happening in this movie.
Yeah.
But now that he's here, it's like, I feel everything that's going on here. And it not that I was emotional, just like, it was weird that I feel what's going on right now in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't, whoever recommended that to us, they're like, it's it's a tearjerker. It's going to bum you out. And I was like, okay. And then I watched, I was like, well, this is sad for sure, but I'm not, I am nowhere close to getting that emotional. It was a good movie though.
Yeah.
And from someone who's not a Kevin Hart fan, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah. So I don't know. You feel things differently now, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know if I've changed necessarily.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, you said you're less of an asshole.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to be anyway. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to be raised by an asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And if you're an asshole, he will probably cling on to that and become an asshole as he grows up too. And you don't really want that.
Sure. But through social media and everything else, he could just become an asshole on his own, right? It's possible.
Have you thought of that about that kind of stuff already?
Yeah. I just want to keep him away from it for as long as possible.
Right. Like, have you set any like age parameters on that yet?
Once you're out of the house. That's going to be mine. You can't have a Facebook page until you're 18.
Wow.
And if you're still living at home when you're 18, you don't get one. Sorry. I mean, it's going to happen anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I know that's unrealistic, but
it's hard telling where we will be at by the time that he's able to actually be of age to get Facebook or something. Like, it's hard telling if Facebook will still be a thing, or like how gigantic it'll be, or
yeah,
what other kind of apps there will be out there. Because I feel like I'm only 33, but I feel like the old guy already when it comes to like apps and stuff like that. Like, not that I necessarily want to keep up, but I think that's important for like a parent to be keeping up on those things, to know what's out there and to know like what to shelter your kids from,
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to keep them away from a lot of stuff for as long as I can. I know, it's going to be tough because, they have to go to school. They have to be around other kids who, let's be honest, will have shitty parents who will let them do a lot of the things and say a lot of the things and be a lot of the ways I don't want him to be. So it's up to us to kind of educate him to all of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird to think about too. I was having this conversation with someone else. Like, the way that I grew up is there were rules, but I don't know. We were kind of like just left to kind of do our own thing. Because my parents are boomers. The boomer generation, I'm not going to say they weren't concerned with, how do I say this? I'm not going to say that they weren't concerned about being parents, but I think their idea of being parents is just so much different than it is now, where it was like, feed them, give them something to do, and you'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
and in a lot of households for people like our age, like that feeding time wasn't until like dinner. And it's like, go outside, do something out there. I don't want to see your face until it's dinner time.
Exactly.
You can't do that these days, especially in the city like you. There ain't no way I would trust my kid to just go out and be out all day long and tell him to come back later.
Yeah. And I would be gone all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to see how that develops. It's just different. It's just different.
Yeah.
And I was exposed to some shit. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, I know what I want him to avoid for sure, but it's going to be tough, man. And social media is going to make it that much harder,
No, I'm just wondering, like, in what way? What do you mean by how is social media going to make it that much harder? Just access to things or access to people?
Just hearing bad ideas, bad thoughts.
Gotcha.
We were having a conversation recently about him eventually being exposed to racism. How are we going to handle that? Because he's certainly not going to learn it from us, but he will. Someone somewhere will expose him to something, an idea, a word, behavior, or whatever the case may be. And it's going to be up to us to like discover that and then have, use it as a teaching moment. Like, no, that's not the way we do things.
Right.
But that will be, and that's going to suck too. Cause I'm gonna be like, who said it? What's their address? Cause we're going over there right now. that's going to be tough, you know, because I really will want to get involved more so than just beyond the teaching moment. Be like, hey, fuck face, you're still using that word in 2030, whatever year it's going to be. Like, you're an
Yeah.
asshole. Stop
I
teaching your
think you,
kids.
I
I don't
think you
know.
have enough like family, like friends, family, and of that you're probably going to be able to teach him right from wrong when it comes to that before he actually gets out there and is stuck in a situation to learn it. You know what I mean? Like
I
I
I
think,
hope so. I
yeah,
hope so.
I think you guys can be a fine on that
I think we
aspect.
will. I think we will. You know, um, and believe me, if he ever was exposed to anything like that, and it slipped out in front of, he has to worry about my wife more so than me.
Yeah,
She'll probably beat him in public.
yeah,
So here's the important question: do you feel like it has changed you? Meaning, do you still think you're like, are you still interested in the same things? Do you still want to do the same things? Because a lot of times this is the thing that people told me: you're not going to want to do the same things you wanted to do before you had kids. Kids are going to change that. And and if anything, I think the goals and the ambitions that my wife and I have, they've intensified because we have a kid. Meaning, we
absolutely.
want to give him all of the best stuff. We want
Mhm.
him to see all of the coolest things, so
Right.
on and so forth.
Yeah, well, it's like because you want that kid to be interested in what you're interested in because that's what makes it so awesome, right? So like it's not that my the things I'm interested in are going to change. It's that, like you said, they're going to intensify because he's only a month old, but I'm like torn because I want him to stay a month old, like that's small. But then again, I'm like, man, it's gonna be so cool when you get older and you can do stuff and like the things that I'm interested in, I can get you interested in
Yeah.
and we can do together kinds of things. But other than that, the only thing that's really changed is I don't mind, on a Friday or Saturday night, just being at home, just hanging out, watching TV with him
Sure.
versus like actually, I can't speak for, a whole lot about it because like I said, it's only been a month
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've only had him, I haven't had him that long, but that's the only thing that has really stuck out to me so far is like, I really don't care to go out and do this or that right now. I'd rather just be sitting at home hanging out with him.
Yeah. You'll probably start, once you guys start going out as a family too, you're going to find that as a new experience that you really enjoy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Taking them out to dinner, being a family at dinner, having a
Mm-hmm.
few beers, having a meal, having
letting
him
letting
out in
drunk women
public,
sniff his
and,
head and all that kind of stuff.
people sniffing his head, but it's a new experience that I think you'll probably enjoy,
Yeah,
and appreciate, because you guys do like to go out. You
yeah,
do like to get out and go places. So
yeah,
having the little dude there will just, um, he'll just be a part of it, and it's cool.
yeah, yeah. The only thing that's an issue now is just that I don't really want to go out because of everything that's going on, and I know you felt this too. It took you
Yeah.
a long time to get comfortable, just kind of going out, but still keeping your distance while you're out and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I should have prefaced my last statement with, if the Delta variant doesn't wipe out the human race, then you'll
right.
enjoy. Who knows? But yeah, it's still weird. I mean, it's still, you still got to be careful, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, we are, of course, he doesn't have hardly any immune system because he's a new
Right.
baby. But
Yeah.
so only like close family and friends have been here to see him, and even them, everybody was wearing masks. Everybody, as soon as they walked in the door, were washing their hands and using sanitizer on their hands and all that kind of stuff. And I've got very close family that are nurses that still haven't got to see him yet or come over to the house
Hmm.
because they're exposed to COVID at work and stuff like that. And it's killing them that they can't come over. But I appreciate them more than they know by that they're not, trying to come over because they know of the issues that it could cause. So
Right. Now, was the mask thing a requirement by you guys, or were those people just being good people?
a mixture of both. I mean,
Okay.
we set that before we even had him. We told everybody that we're going to have everybody come over like slowly, and it'll probably only be a couple of people at a time. And then when we do want you to wear masks and stuff like that. So
Vaccinated or not?
a mixture of both. Most of them have been vaccinated,
So
but
still wanted them
not
to wear a
all of
mask
them.
even if they were vaccinated?
Well, yeah, because I mean
Just everything else aside from COVID is what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. I
Well,
got you.
I mean that too. I mean that too. But I think and we don't have to go deep into this because I know it's a hot topic, but as far as being vaccinated or not vaccinated, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean you can't have it.
Right. Well, yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Let's not go deep into that. No, I know what you're saying.
yeah.
But I guess also there's the, you want them to get exposed to certain things so their immune system can build. I can't remember what we did. I know like family came over pretty early on, like really early on, once we brought them home. But then after that, we were still right in the thick of COVID. We didn't take them anywhere. No one came over.
Something interesting I heard, my cousin has a baby that's around a year old right now. And she was worried the same thing because, the past year's been a mess and that they haven't really taken their daughter out very much to like build an immune system, to be exposed to anything that would help her immune system. Well, she talked to the doctor about that and said that she was worried about it. And the doctor told her, "Do you have a dog at home?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Then I wouldn't worry about it." She's
yeah,
like,
they're going to get exposed to plenty at home for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I never even thought about that. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, then my son's immune system is tip top then because we have 2 dogs. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's well, that's cool that people have been able to see him. Yeah, the whole mask thing, and I was just curious about that. Who? Now let me ask you this: if you and Joe Rogan were friends, and you said, "All right, Joe, you can finally come over and meet my son," do you think Joe would put on a mask?
I don't know. He seems like a guy, if I asked him to, he probably would.
Oh, you think so?
But I think he's got enough horse dewormer in him that I think he's fine.
All right. So what do you make of all that? So to be clear, you're joking, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you, like everyone else I'm seeing online, don't actually think he's taking horse dewormer?
No. That was what everybody took off with because it is. I mean, there's different forms of ivermectin.
Right.
People just heard ivermectin and they're like, "Oh my god!" and then just took off with the fact that he's going to, the stable and getting horse dewormer and and taking it. That's ridiculous.
Correct.
But where I'm wondering, you sent me a clip earlier of Tom Segura on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he was kind of explaining himself and all that. He said that he was like he felt great within like 4 days, right? 4 days period.
Yeah.
After the stuff he took, he felt great. A lot of people only go through like a day or two of it. I mean, I think mine wasn't like put me in the hospital, but it did literally put me down for like 6 days straight, taking like Mucinex and whatnot. But I just wonder, with his immune system being as good as it is and stuff like that, I wonder if he didn't take all that stuff and he just took Mucinex, would it only taken like 3 or 4 days and him be good again?
Now that's a great question, but you're under the assumption that he has a good immune system.
I mean, okay.
So he was taking the monoclonal antibodies, and you have to qualify for those.
Okay, I did not researched the it's monoclonal antibodies. Is that what you said, right? Yeah. Have you done research on those? Like, do you know what those are?
Yeah. So they're actual antibodies that you can get for COVID patients who have had the symptoms and are severe symptoms. But there are stipulations. Like, in order for you to be eligible to get those, and by the way, they're not cheap if you do get them. Not cheap at all. But there are certain stipulations as to, how do you get those? You have to be specific things. So here's a list that I found. You have to be at least 65 years old, which he is not. So let's eliminate that one. Hang on a sec. You have to have a body mass index of more than 25 kilograms, or if age 12 to 17, have a body mass index above the 85th percentile for their age and gender based on the CDC growth charts. So that's where I'm thinking he was eligible. He likely has a high body mass index because of his build.
Okay. Now, are these
or he's just
are,
using his wealth to just get stuff that normal people can't get,
are
which
these
could
the
be another.
same? Are these the same antibodies that you get from the vaccine?
No,
They're not.
I don't believe so. See, that's the part I don't know. But some of the other stipulations, you have to have a medical condition like chronic kidney disease, cardiovascular disease, including congenital heart disease or hypertension, diabetes, Down syndrome, dementia, liver disease, chronic lung disease, sickle cell, or immunosuppressive disease, or be on immunosuppressive treatments. You also can be a current or former smoker, which I think is incredibly ridiculous. History of stroke or cerebrovascular disease, current or history of substance abuse, neurological disorders, or have a medical related technological dependence. So for him, if he really was trying to meet the criteria of being eligible, I'm assuming it's coming from that body mass index, or he has a sickness or disorder that we don't know about.
Or he's just friends with enough doctors that he can get a script written for him.
Yeah. He definitely has the money and he knows the right people. So that clip was interesting on a few different levels. I'm going to start. Let's say we're going to go backwards. So he starts by talking about how he got sick, what he did to not be sick anymore, so on and so forth. Let's not even talk about that yet. What I found interesting was Tom Segura commented on the amount of people that said they wish he had been more sick, right? Because he's been very outspoken about how he's not going to get the vaccine. He doesn't think all people should get the vaccine. Masks are for pussies, which he definitely has said. Now, was he joking? Maybe. Was it the right thing to be joking about on such a huge platform? Probably not. Can he say whatever he wants? Sure. He has to understand that he's going to fall under heavy, heavy scrutiny if he makes a statement like that. So, but he's also been towing the line as far as how real he thinks COVID actually is and who it impacts the most. So the one thing that he said is to be healthy, which I agree with him. You should. You know, if you don't want to worry about COVID so much, a good start is being a healthy person. Healthy diet, exercise, mental health, sleep, all that stuff. And I agree with him 100%. We've been talking about that since the beginning. But when you're towing the line about how real you actually think it is and how real you think your health is, because he kind of, again, implies that he's a healthy person, stays in shape, eats well, so on and so forth. So if you truly believe that, why did you exhaust all of your resources to get as much treatment as possible?
Right.
Because regular Joes like you and I don't have easy access to IV drips of 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C.
Right.
Right. We don't have, the resources to just go out and get those antibodies or get ivermectin. Right. Could we? Sure. What is the price to be paid if we do? Right.
Right.
So if he truly believes that A, it's not necessarily that real for people like himself, or B, that he's that healthy, then why not just stick it out and see what happens?
True.
Now, I certainly am not like everyone else on the other end. I didn't want the guy to be sick. I didn't want any harm to be done to the guy from getting it.
Well, he made the comment in that too. He's like, I basically pissed everybody off because I got better so fast. Yeah. All these people who are like, I wish you would get sick. I wish you would die. I wish this, that, and the other. He just, went completely against what they wanted and just pissed them off more.
Here's what I wish he had said, though. It's fine. You did get better fast. But guess what? There are people who have gotten better quicker than you that didn't have any of the stuff you had.
Yeah.
Which is it's a very important distinction to make. And it's something that should probably be said on that platform.
The only thing that distinguishes him for me a little bit differently from other people is, like I said, 3 or 4 days, a lot of people get over the worst of it within 3 or 4 days by just sticking it out or by taking Mucinex or whatever. They feel better. But didn't he actually take a COVID test after like the 4th day and he was negative?
I read that, but I don't know how true that is.
Because I seen a post on social media of him showing the negative COVID test.
Right. Oh, by the way, we all don't have access to those things either.
That's true. But that's what, to me, distinguishes him a little bit, because most people wouldn't be showing a negative COVID test after 4 days, even if they felt better, right?
Yeah.
It normally stays in your system for quite a long time. So I don't know how that works.
I'll be curious to see how he talks about if he even does talk about it anymore. I would imagine that after Segura, he's probably not. I mean, someone might ask him if he has a guest on, they might ask him, but I'd be curious to see just how condescending his tone gets moving forward because he feels like he beat it, right? He feels like
You
it
think,
was.
you think he's going to be arrogant about it?
He's already been arrogant about it. So that's been my biggest problem. And it
Yeah.
goes back to this bubble that I'm talking about that he lives in. And he just has to understand, like, and he doesn't have to care about regular people. Maybe he's not as a kind-hearted of a person as it maybe I thought he was in the beginning when I started listening to him in 2015 or whatever. And he doesn't have to give a shit about you or I, but expect the backlash.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't pay attention to it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Because
Yeah.
Tom Segura was like, yeah, I read this and I read that. And Joe Rogan was like, I don't pay attention to any of it. But then he 2 minutes later said, yeah, I know people were upset that I didn't get that sick. Okay, well, something's happening. You're
Yeah.
not completely blind to all of it. You're not oblivious to all of it. So I'm curious to see what his tone is moving forward.
Yeah.
And look, you don't want to get the vaccine. You don't want to get the vaccine. But again, we all don't have the resources he has.
Right.
Hey, has he earned those resources? Sure. Has he earned the right to get the best medical care, to know the best doctors who can get him, different treatments than just getting the Pfizer vaccine? Sure. Doesn't mean we can't talk about him.
Right.
Like,
Well, another thing is too, when it comes to the social media thing, it's how many, I'm sure you had friends on your social media that took off with that whole ivermectin thing too, about, as soon as somebody said that they were taking ivermectin, all of a sudden it's like they're taking horse and cow medicine. Like you don't do that. And I did the same thing. As soon as I seen that on social media, I think I actually shared it on Facebook and said, people, we just need to let people start weeding themselves out if this is true.
yeah.
Well, that was before I knew that there's actually a human form of this. All the social media is showing is just, oh, well, there's spike numbers of poison control calls because people are taking, the actual horse and cow form of this, not people form. And it wasn't until the next day after I shared that I seen the article about Joe Rogan saying that he took it. And to me, all of a sudden something clicked and I'm like, okay, there's got to be something more to this because Joe Rogan's not an idiot. Like he's one of the smarter guys out there, so he's not just going to take something just idiotically like that. But I think there's other sides that are people that see it and see that he took that and they're like, so Joe Rogan is as big of a moron as everybody else that's taking this stuff when
Right.
you know that he's got a lot of science to back it up before he would do it.
Yeah. I never once thought that he was one of those morons, but there are those morons.
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and I don't have the science to talk about it because I'm a moron when it comes to that stuff. But the fact that if you looked at what ivermectin is, it's for it's like a parasite,
Right.
Not virus.
Correct.
So that's what's weird to me. Rogan talked about it a little bit in that clip, but I couldn't understand what the heck. I don't think he understood what he was reading. He tried to read it and he couldn't pronounce most of the words, and he doesn't know what he was taking either. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting because there was two different things. A virus and a parasite are two different things. So that was weird to me.
Correct. My wife could break down the science for you better on that. And she did
really?
At the start of this, when people were posting on social media that they were taking the horse version of ivermectin. At the end of the day, science or no science, that there are people out there that are just anti-vax, that are just going to do it because they're morons.
Yeah. But are these the same people that won't get a vaccination because they don't know what's in it?
Correct.
Tell me what's in ivermectin.
They can't. Or because it's, yeah. And same people, like I said, these same people who won't get the vaccine are, a majority of them are smokers. A majority of them have terrible diets. Not a majority, there are folks that are 100% outspokenly against getting the vaccine, but still put thousands and thousands of chemicals in their body every day. They don't know the source of them. They don't know what they are. So just say you don't want to do it. That's it.
Right.
That's where it ends.
That's what I would rather. That's what I would rather see. I would rather not. Don't give me an explanation for it. And I have a lot of friends and family who have no desire to get the vaccine. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. You do
Is it
you.
because they just don't want to, or it's because they have some conspiracy theory that's attached this idea to their brain, and they now have to spread that idea?
Right. As far as close people goes, it's not really, or like close people to me, it's not really a matter of that. It's mainly just it's something they don't want to do. Some people, it's like a freedom thing, kind of like you want to force me to do something that I don't want to do,
Right.
one of those kinds of things. But for the most part, it's not conspiracy related or anything like that. It's just something they don't want to do, just like a flu shot or
Right.
Anything like that.
And that fair enough. And again, I would say I respect that more than just spreading this misinformation.
Right.
And that's one of the things he said in that clip too, is it kind of annoys me, and he does this a lot. But he talks about there was a study, singular, not studies, plural. There was a study that showed that if you've had COVID, the antibodies you build after you've had COVID are 6 to 13% more effective than the Pfizer vaccine.
Right.
Really? What study was that, Joe? That's the kind of shit that he says that really bugs me. Right? If he had said studies, I would have been like, okay, let me go ahead and fact check that, because there are multiple I could try and find. He just said one, didn't say who did it. There was a study that showed that, right? Yeah. So he has to understand, on his platform, when he says something like that, he's telling someone else other than you and I, someone who doesn't think that getting COVID is more effective than getting the vaccine. Right? Mm-hmm. He said that without saying it.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. You can't even begin to think that's true. That's scary territory to enter around anything. Yeah. Forget about just COVID. You would say that about anything.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Are they, so, with your wife being a nurse, are they, is she saying that, because I've been hearing, like, with this Delta variant going around, that the ICUs are full everywhere, and that I seen something, a news posted the other day saying that there's like 95% of ICUs are full right now. Like there's only 5% in Missouri left or something like that they can actually hold people.
Yeah.
And even to hold those people, they still don't have like all the ventilators they need and all that kind of stuff for people. Like people are passing away, and there's just nothing that they can really do about it.
Yeah, it's a shit show, man.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I've realized, and again, it doesn't change anything necessarily, but COVID's here. It's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Vaccine or not, it's not going anywhere. It exists. It's here. We're just gonna have to deal with it. Our lives are now adjusted to that idea. And I kind of go back to where most people are battling with their own gut, their own decision making. What's best? Who do I listen to? Do I listen to myself? Do I listen to the CDC? Do I listen to Fauci? What do I do? A lot of people haven't decided. And of those people, there are some that are going to the hospital because they're getting sick. Of those people, there are some that are getting vaccinated because their desire to not be sick is stronger than the conspiratorial part of their brain. I don't know. But you're hearing about all that stuff. It's unfortunate. I think even crazier are the amount of nurses who aren't returning to work. They're just saying, "Fuck it, I'm not going to be a nurse anymore." Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to do it anymore. Why? Why want to do it? I'm putting myself at risk more so than most people, and then people are going on the news and on the internet saying that I'm no hero and this and that, which fine. I don't think most want to be heroes, but I don't know. If I were under that scrutiny 24/7, all while having to do what everyone who's talking about it isn't doing, I probably would just find something else too.
Yeah.
I don't know. My wife is working significantly less than she was,
That's
a
by
year,
that's by her
a year
that's
ago.
by her choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't blame her. I eventually don't want her to work, but how dare I? I am woman, hear me roar. So she says. How dare I? I'm not sexist because I want my wife to be at home, not working with my child. It doesn't make me sexist, but apparently that makes you sexist these days. So I don't know.
Hang on. Is your wife telling you that makes you sexist?
I don't, we won't get into it, but people are. Did you see,
That's
speaking
funny.
of husbands and wives, did you see that another celebrity has yet again been accused of being, abusive? You seen the latest? This is a big one.
I don't think so. Like, how recently are we talking?
Oh, recent, real recent. So Angelina Jolie has come out and stated that she feared for her and her children's safety while she was married to Brad Pitt. Apparently, he was incredibly abusive, physically and verbally. What do you make of that?
Does this interest you? Is this why you're bringing this up? Because this interests you?
I bring it up because as a student of the media, I find it incredibly problematic that people can just come out and make these statements. And then now Brad Pitt has to face the backlash for what reason? With what proof other than her just making statements? There's no physical evidence. There's nothing. She just said it.
How long have they been divorced?
I don't know. Here, let me pull up the story here. Who do we trust more, the New York Post or BuzzFeed News? Let's go New York Post.
Are they both going to say the same thing?
Probably. I probably distrust them equally, but let's do it anyway.
Okay.
What happened? New York Post just broke my internet.
I think it's all a lie because Angelina Jolie was Tomb Raider. She's not going to get beat up by Brad Pitt.
He's fucking Tyler Durden, bro. What are you trying to say to me right now?
Didn't mean to insult you.
What actually is happening right now? The actress claims that she was scared for my whole family during the union. I'm not the kind of person who makes decisions like the decisions I had to make lightly, she told the paper. I'm not the kind of person who makes decisions like the decisions I had to make lightly.
It makes sense. It's just weirdly worded.
Horribly worded. It took a lot for me to be in a position where I felt I had to separate from the father of my children. Jolie and Pitt share 6 children. Jolie filed for divorce in 2016. Pitt was cleared of child abuse allegations made by the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services regarding an incident between him and Maddox on a plane from US to Europe. What? So Maddox is their oldest of the children.
So there were allegations back, like at least a few years back, that
he had
abused his kid.
Brad Pitt won a key battle in his child custody war with Angelina Jolie this week when he was cleared of abuse allegations by the LA County Department. Pitt was being investigated for an alleged incident with one of the Hollywood couple's 6 kids' son, Maddox, who was then 15. So this was 5 years ago, aboard a private jet. TMZ reported Wednesday that the LA Children and Family Services officials did not find any abuse in the matter stemming from the argument between Pitt and the boy, and that the case was exhaustively investigated. Social workers interviewed Pitt, Jolie, and the kids and witnesses on the plane. Everyone cooperated in the investigation. No further action will be taken. So there was an argument between he and his son.
Gotcha.
While the duo are now legally divorced, they're still battling over custody of their children. So clearly, not clearly, but this feels like an attempt to win that custody battle. No?
It does, because I'm pretty sure the last thing I heard was that she was trying to get custody of, like, full custody of all of them, or he didn't get any.
The Inglorious Bastards actor was first granted joint custody of the former couple's 5 minor children in May. I like how they called him the Inglorious Bastards actor. Really? None of the other movies he's been in? Jolie said the divorce had been traumatic and added, I mean, in some ways, it's been the last decade. There's a lot I can say. I think at the end of the day, even you and a few people who you love are the only people who know the truth of your life, what you fight for, or what you sacrifice, or what you've suffered. You come to be at peace with that, regardless of everything going on around you. I don't know. So again, she can say this, and then now he's an asshole. He's a bastard. It's weird, but like we've said before, people can just come out and say whatever they want now, and good luck getting past it.
Yeah, but it's the same issue we've dealt with before. It's like, if it's true, then yeah, it definitely needs to be said, and fuck him if it is true. However, it's just too easy to be able to make claims and make statements that nobody knows if they actually are true.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if it does come out of a woman's mouth, it's more believed.
Yeah. But hasn't it been proven, not claimed, that she's a nutbag? Hasn't she done that herself with her
well, you say
previous
proven
behavior?
You say proven. What do you mean by that?
Like some of her actions in the public eye, couldn't they be considered a little bit loony?
Do you have any examples?
I don't know, wearing Billy Bob Thornton's blood around her neck.
Okay, that was a little, that was odd. That was odd.
I don't know. Getting with Brad Pitt while he was still married to another woman. Not really the best idea, but she did it anyway.
Well, I mean, it's Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It's not as big of a deal in Hollywood, I don't think.
But that's proof of not the best decision making, right?
Okay.
Hollywood or not, no?
Yeah, but I don't know that makes her a nutbag.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Google Angelina Jolie crazy behavior, and let's see what we can come up with.
Oh, geez.
I don't want to sound like I'm defending Tyler Durden, but I guess in a way I am. Right? Also because you said Laura Croft could. You know what is a terrible movie is that movie they're in together, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where they actually do fight in the movie.
I seen that one time.
That movie sucks.
That one fight scene was the only memorable thing in it for me.
Nothing about that movie is memorable other than her body. Yes, that's me being sexist again.
I heard it.
You heard it, so is everyone else. That's fine. She cast destitute children for a movie by taunting them with money. Recently, Jolie encountered backlash for her filmmaking methods when describing how she cast a children's role. The film, shot in Cambodia, is an adaptation of the memoir First They Killed My Father. The casting was not only unorthodox, but deeply disturbing. As described in an interview with Vanity Fair, the casting director put money on a table in front of the Cambodian orphans, told them to brainstorm things they needed the cash for, and instructed them to steal it away. Okay. That time she appeared to enjoy kissing her own brother a bit too much. You ever seen that video?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's gross. Angelina Jolie is quite closer to her brother, James Haven, but sometimes the relationship looks a little too sexual for comfort. Jolie took Haven as her date to the 2000 Academy Awards. To the shock or delight of the paparazzi, the two locked lips on the red carpet for a rather long kiss. Jolie was hanging on her brother and describing being in love. Jolie's childhood nanny explained it away as a sister needing the support of her brother. The kiss came on the day their mother was first treated for cancer, but for something so taboo, it's hard not to see it as slightly creepy. Jolie once tried to hire someone to kill her.
Jesus. Okay, now that gets nutty.
She exchanged blood with then husband Billy Bob Thornton for wearing around their necks. She was married in rubber pants and a bloody t-shirt. Her first spouse, Johnny Lee Miller, married her in 1996. They met while filming the 1995 film Hackers. The two were only married for 3 years, but their wedding was certainly strange. She reportedly donned rubber pants and a t-shirt with Johnny Lee Miller's name written on it in blood. The two have remained close over the years. She was sexually adventurous and kinky from a very young age. I don't care about that. Her backup plan, if acting failed, was to be a funeral director. relationship with her father was mostly been tumultuous. Yeah, didn't John Voight just disown her? Pretty sure.
I know way more about Angelina Jolie now than I ever have in my life.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you for that.
Anyway, I don't know, man. I didn't find it interesting necessarily, other than it's just another case of someone saying something, and now the person they said it about has to, again, face the backlash and move past the backlash, which we've seen can't be easy.
Right.
But it's, have you ever heard anything about Deshaun Watson? Because I know he was trying to.
I know there were a lot more allegations that were put on him after we talked about it last, but the only thing I've heard now is that he is inactive and he's not a starting quarterback for the Texans.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor was named starting quarterback, but he still gets to play. He still gets a paycheck, right?
I assume. I don't know how that works. I don't know what they're saying he's inactive for.
Houston Texans now starting quarterback, and it's not Deshaun Watson. Again, which of these do I want to? We'll just do.
But it's also an odd situation because you got a quarterback who wants to go somewhere else, and you have a team that doesn't want to let him go, but they're still going to keep him on as the quarterback and pay him.
Okay, so wait. So this is news to me. So 10 of the 20 women have filed complaints with the Houston police, but they're all still civil suits, right? There's no criminal. He's not under any criminal investigation, right?
That's what we figured out last time, but I don't know if anything's changed since then. Apparently not.
So Deshaun Watson will be on the roster, but will not play. Still on the roster. He's probably not going to play this year, barring some sort of dramatic change. Unless the Texans do something as you go into the year, they'll probably try to trade him next offseason, and we'll be doing this all over again.
Why would they hold on to him for a whole season?
I don't know. Maybe they don't think they can get anything for him now because this is still so fresh, but maybe a year from now,
maybe
there will have been some sort of resolution, and then they'll get.
Because another team's probably going to have to buy out his contract, which they're probably not going to want to do.
Tyrod Taylor was almost accidentally killed by his team doctor. What?
Really?
Sure, Taylor is grateful for the opportunity to prove he can still provide value at the position. This is a guy who somehow always ends up with the worst possible situations to do so. Agreed. Case in point, the Texans are a sweltering dumpster fire, with most NFL experts projecting them to finish the season with the worst record in the league. There's also the fact that the last time the 32-year-old was named a starter for the Los Angeles Chargers last season, he lost his job only because a team doctor punctured his lung. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I did too.
While administering an injection for his cracked ribs. Yeah, that guy, I'll be honest, when the Browns got him, I was excited, and he played well. And he really only lost his job because Baker Mayfield came in and won a game. Like, he wasn't playing bad. You know, he wasn't playing poorly. He wasn't great. He wasn't lighting the league on fire, but he was playing well. Yeah, that guy has some bad luck. I totally forgot about that punctured lung thing.
I guess who took over for him with the Chargers? Justin Herbert, is that right?
Justin Herbert.
Herbert?
Yeah.
So he must have.
And he's good.
I was gonna say he must have proved himself for sure because they held on to him as a starter this year.
Oh no, that guy's good. That guy had a good season last year. He's that young. He's like a part of that young group of quarterbacks that like him, and we talked about this before. Him and obviously Patrick Mahomes, and there was somebody else we said too. Oh,
you got some young guys,
Josh Allen, like all these guys. Like, dude, like how crazy is it that Patrick Mahomes is now like a veteran?
I know, dude.
You know what I mean? Like
I was just thinking about that the other day. Like it seems like Cam Newton and Russell Wilson just got drafted like not too long ago, but they are like veterans in the league now.
Cam Newton, dude.
What's happening with him, man? Where do you think he's going?
I don't know. It just goes to show that talent doesn't necessarily get you everything in the NFL. You have to have something that separates you from everyone else as far as like your leadership qualities. I think that has to be the only thing. The dude's fucking talented, right? I don't think there's any denying that. Like he's one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. So the fact that he's not on a team, and like people like, I saw someone the other day, on ESPN saying, well, he's not a starter now. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But there has to be these intangibles that he just doesn't have. Like I said,
Well,
like leadership, and maybe
it's like
just
the whole Denver situation right now. They've announced that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starting quarterback for Denver, which I'm fine with. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I was kind of hoping that Locke would get it, but Locke doesn't have the experience, and he hasn't been a starter for an NFL team, and Bridgewater has.
yeah.
Plus, he's played under some big names, so.
Right. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, another unlucky dude.
I wanna stray for you.